Jesus is God. Jesus is Lord. Jesus has the victory.
We all have a call to greatness, a desire for it. We want to do something good.
Now is your time. You could change the world, and the world needs changing, so get busy.
Shalom World, God's own channel.
Welcome to our sweet home. Come on in.
Hi!
My oldest daughter is Trinity.
She's 15 years old, and she is such a delight.
She's like a little mom to our family in regards that she takes on a lot of the responsibilities for the family to keep the family grow.
Aiden is 13 years old.
A person who takes a lot of responsibility to make sure that everybody is okay and care for them. My next oldest is Felicity. Felicity is the spark in our family.
She is just so funny when you can get her to talk.
Liam.
He's a spitfire.
If he wasn't living in our home, he'd probably be living out in the woods.
Claire's 9.
She's kind of the boss of the family.
If she could have been the oldest and told everybody what to do, she would love that.
My next one is Sean.
He's funny. He loves to make you laugh.
He's like total spontaneous.
And so then there's Nolan, and he is 6.
My social butterfly.
And he's always talking. Wherever you look, you'll see he's talking.
The next one after that is my son, Declan.
He is always, always, always telling everybody, it doesn't matter who you are, I love you, and he'll hug you.
He's always very concerned about other people and how they're doing.
And then there's Immaculate, and she's 20 months.
She likes to be interactive. She likes to be very affectionate.
It's a gift, I believe, from Mary.
We first encountered each other when in youth group when I was a youth minister. I was in 12th grade and Christy was going into 9th grade, and that's when we first met her.
I had a crush on him and thought nobody knew. And I always wanted to be in his small group, but they would never put me in his small group, and it bothered me so much.
But for me, Christy was an unveiling to me. God really unveiled her to me as a person that who he was calling me to.
And I went away to college at NC State University on an athletic scholarship. And so when I went away, I met with my team and I told them, I said, there's a guy back home that I'm gonna marry, but he doesn't know it yet.
I had fallen in so much in love with God that one of the things that I had to kind of contend with was, well, how could I love another person? You know, it'd almost be like having a divided heart. So where the unveiling happened for me and Christy was, we were at a road rally.
I saw him from across the room look at me in a different way.
It was like a shroud or a curtain was removed, and for the first time I saw her.
I went up and I sat at his table and we were talking. I was babysitting and running that summer, and so we were talking about that, and I said, why don't you come run with me? And he was like, yeah, I could do that.
I asked one of my friends, I'm like, you know, I really feel called to really kind of ask Christy out. And, but I'm like, I'm not so sure. Like, I'm 3 years older than her, and I'm like, I'm not sure. She comes from a really good family. She's really pretty. And the deciding moment for me was, and this is why it helps to kind of run this by your friends a lot, is my one friend said to me, Dave, he's like, well, shoot, if you don't ask her out, I didn't know she was single. I'll go ask her out. Well, that was a high motivator for me to take the initiative and go out and ask her out.
And it was actually 2 days before I was going back to North Carolina, and we decided that we would date and court.
So we courted. So I became more aware of who Christy was, and she became more aware of who I was. And in that process, I absolutely fell in love with her. But in 2 years in, another call came to me.
I always knew in the back of my head that he was discerning the priesthood, or that the priesthood was important to him, or a calling to him. And so that summer, 2 summers in, my 3rd year in college, we said, what are we gonna do here? We really have to make a choice. We're at a crossroads right now. And so we said, okay, we're gonna break up. We'll do this and you'll go discern it. So in the beginning of the summer, we tried to break up.
I'll be honest with you, it was hard. It was hard fought battle for me to sit there and say, I'm gonna let go of all of this and I'm gonna go with you, God. Even though I don't know where it's going, and all I know it's promising me right now is a whole lot of pain and heartache, I'm gonna go with you.
He was in the seminary for a year, and then I was competing and training in North Carolina.
I spent a year in seminary refining my will in regards to coming to a point where I had to recognize that the only reason why I was following God is because I just choose to love him.
Then he came out of the seminary. We talked, but things had happened within our relationship, within that time from when he'd come out. And so we didn't get back together right away. We actually went through the whole entire summer again. It was by the gift of a friend who actually met with us 10 o'clock at night. Outside, I was working at Baskin-Robbins, in the parking lot of Baskin-Robbins, and the 3 of us sat there for almost 2-3 hours talking, and it was the first time that Darren and I had realized, oh no, we can do this.
We courted for a little while. At that point in time, I full well knew that she was the woman for me. Started very quickly planning up to make the proposal. What I did is we went to Cranbrook, which is a very beautiful park. Chrissy was in front of me, and she was looking at a small little flower. I remember that distinctly. And I asked, that she had picked, and I asked her, what's your deepest desire right now? She's like, well, I'll have to think about that. And so I said, well, let me tell you what I know. I know what my deepest desire is. My deepest desire is for you to be my wife and for me to marry you.
We were able to get married May 26th, 2002. And it was a beautiful day, and Mary was there, present in the whole thing. And I've really had a special connection to Mary, and Christ watched over us, led us, guided us, and there was a peace.
And I remember God saying, you can be with me, and I will allow the 2 of you to be together and to be what I've called you to be. I always wanted a big family. I didn't know I was gonna have this big a family.
I never planned on having a large family. Over the years, I've been able to see God work in my life. Actually, I had a peace and a joy that doing His will would be where I found my happiness.
Because I really wanted what God wanted me to have. Like, I really felt strong in my bones. Like, listen, I really just want to go where God goes. Whatever struggles or whatever trials that may involve, fine, as long as it's on His path and His way.
There's nothing spectacular about this everyday craziness.
Because you got all these personalities that are interacting with each other, and it's just very dynamic.
In fact, there's days where I'm just tired and short-tempered, and to remember, though, in those times to see the joy in everything that takes place, from changing a diaper to making dinner, and to know that God has a plan for that. To be pregnant and have our first 10 months after we were married was just amazing. And my mom gave me good advice. She said to enjoy this pregnancy, enjoy every aspect of it, because you'll never have it again, because going down the road, you're going to have other children to take care of. I don't think either of us thought 8 other children to take care of.
But when I saw Trinity come out and I held her, I was transformed. I became something completely new.
And we didn't know what we were having. And so to enjoy that time, just at the awe and amazement and wonderment of God's creation, and that He was creating a miracle inside of me, which turned out to be our first daughter.
For me, I knew looking at her, I was going to give her everything that I had. I was going to struggle to make life, open life up for her and do everything again, and I was going to be perfectly fine with that. Married life is about being present and fully being given to that other person, and that's a challenge. Even though me and Chrissy have different personalities, 99% of the things we will agree on. Just right off the bat, easy living. But darn it, that 1%, we are totally at opposite ends of the spectrum. One of the things that we had learned early on in our married life is that when we reach these points where we really just can't find our own way of connecting, those are the God moments. Those are the moments where you just let it go. And you say, listen, we're going to go and we're going to pray and we're going to spend time with God and we're going to invite Him to be here with us and to connect us through Him. We would be connected through Him. And it has never failed.
Have God work through me in prayer is something that I strive for every day. I've had multiple experiences where praying for something has produced amazing fruits.
So the very moments when we are most challenged and most at odds are the very moments when we are growing and becoming something completely new that is beyond what we could have been able to achieve on our own.
It's interesting when I'm having a hard time, and especially if I cry, and sometimes I'll get down on my knees and be crying at the couch or up in my bedroom, and one of the little ones will come up to me and they'll hug me and they'll kiss me and, are you okay, Mom? And I said, yeah, Mom will be okay. Thank you for your hug. I needed that hug. And so I think for them, they're able to see me at my core.
I want to be real with my kids because it's in that realness that real relationship takes place. Real love gets exchanged. Real meaning is pulled out of that experience. And so for me, it's really important, especially with my kids, to share with them areas where I have been challenged, what I have learned, to pass on the wisdom and understandings that I have so that maybe they can use that as a way of either avoiding something or in order to aspire or motivate or generate an opportunity for them to achieve something on their own. Culture is meant to nurture the soul. It's there to help virtue grow. But the current culture we live in now doesn't nurture, it afflicts. It afflicts young people and married families and families in general with fear, anxiety, with selfishness, and with vice.
We don't want to be programmed by the culture. We want to actually go into the culture and evangelize and lead and be leaders within the community.
In order to really buffer my kids from that, what I need to be able to do is I need to create a counterculture within my own family, which is a lot easier with a big family, because there's a lot of people watching your back. There's a lot of people, skills and personalities that get added to that build strength. But that culture is always trying to find a way to break through. But I've come to appreciate that what's most important, especially for me as a father, is I need to take the spiritual initiative with my own children to teach them to pray, to teach them to know what to value, and to teach them what's most important in life. And if I can do that, then the culture can't do anything to kind of pull them down. They just use it as a stepping stone to get stronger.
I know that not only I have my family here to back me up, but my family in heaven, that God, Jesus, Mary, Joseph.
I'm dependent on a God who loves my children more than I do.
Prayer for me is really being in relationship with God. And it's really about my children coming to understand that God is not just some sort of abstract thing that they interact with.
He has provided in so many ways for needs that we didn't even know we would have a need for. And I have the utmost confidence. Darren and I experienced it in our engagement, and we experienced it in our marriage and within our family life.
If we are aspiring to be what God wants us to be, the only way we're going to achieve that is through prayer. There is no way, everything in my life right now, there is no way I could have obtained it without God's help. There's just no way.
Just being able to know that I can trust in them and be able to pray with them, and then even praying with my family to them, is just a greater experience.
And so when I look ahead to the future and how are we gonna do this with 9 kids and everything that comes with that, college, cars, and different things moving forward, I have hope that He will provide. And it may not be in the way that we see that the answer would come to, but it'll be His way, and it'll be better than anything that we could have dreamt of on our own.
The best quality that I really find in Christy as a mother and wife is her real perseverance and passion.
It's probably her organization, because with a big family, you need someone at least to be organized.
It helps me as a husband to really feel convicted, knowing that behind me I have a woman who not only is going to encourage me and really motivate me, but a woman who's also going to be that bedrock that I can lean on when I need that reassurance that we're going to persevere through times that are maybe challenging or tough.
One of the best qualities about Darren as a husband and father, and that I've really come to cherish and value over the years, especially the more kids we have, is his creativity, because it allows me, who is very structured and at times has a very hard time thinking outside of the box, to go to him as in a task, in a need, or an idea that is being put forth or has happened upon our family, and to have him see it in a new perspective.
It would probably be his leadership skills, but not only as a leader that just kind of bosses everybody around, but as someone who really tries to bring out the best in people and just his willingness to help you whenever you need help.
Where a lot of people are in our culture, they tend to lower the bar on what they expect out of family life.
Being able to show people that when you do the will of God, when you put Him first, all the details, all of the day, everything is taken, it works out. He takes care of everything.
I've made a commitment to the person that I love to really be open to all that life has to offer us together.
And we certainly aren't perfect, and we don't get it right all the time.
Well, I'm not perfect. Christy may be perfect. I'm not perfect.
And I would say at times our shortcomings can stand out more because there's more children around and more contrast, and so you can the shortcomings can sometimes be highlighted more, but to use that as an opportunity to grow and to remember why God has us here and what we're doing, and that in those times it's actually probably myself that needs to grow more. Hopefully the goal is we end up in eternity forever with each other.
We're on mission.
And we're on mission.
To be an awesome family.
And a joyful family.
And a joyful family.
Pleased to introduce Shalom World, a new 24/7 dynamic, family-friendly Catholic television channel. This new English language channel is from Shalom Media, a Catholic media ministry that has made great contributions to the church in the past 10 years. I invite you to join me in praying that Shalom World television channel will be a strong voice of the Catholic Church in proclaiming the gospel of Christ to our world today.
Shalom World, God's own channel.